So the recent summer update has brought with it a new batch of decadent and raspberry trays. And as a big fan of the Choco trays, I thought it would be fun to do more EPICS only runs on these trays. Since these trays force you to dig deep into the depths of your knowledge and put you in really unique and interesting situations. Or rather, they used to. I'm going to be honest, these new trays are way too easy. If you've watched any of my tray content, then you'd know that BL is an easy way to key trays even if they're designed against her. And these trays are no different. Trait 27 was nothing special. The gimmick of the stage was that non-water damage is massively reduced and the boss has an infinitely stacking bleed. And the boss has a massive shield as well, so zap is force. So just run BL Twist because you now have 3 minutes to ramp up your damage and the boss deals 0 damage if you have cleanse. Hell, Clover and Marshmallow Bunny were completely unnecessary. Okay, I know I've been trashing on the new trays, but this tray was actually really fun. There is no extra gimmick to the boss, just the standard starter stuff and the burn dealing 5 billion damage. And the boss's constant invulnerability and iframes. Because the burn is so powerful, I'm forced to run a cleanser on my team. I choose Monocle over a cookie like Peppermint or Herb. Mainly because Black Lemonade needs all 5 cookies to revolve around her more than he needs all 3 treasures. And my smart self just realized I have been grinding out attempts and Marshmallow Bunny doesn't even have her full skill activated. Even though my Aikiro ended up dying this attempt, I decided to just tough it out to see how close I could get. I mean, the damage seemed pitiful, but keep in mind on Black Lemonade teams, your damage scales quadratically with time rather than linearly. So, I had to think, what if Star Coral was the only DPS I needed? Mistimed Monocle moment. Whoopsies. With Financier, my entire team was immune to or didn't proc to sleep, meaning that I didn't have to deal with injury and I could survive the whole battle. Considering Stardust was only 10 mil HP away on a very unoptimized run, I figured that it should be possible. Move Star Coral to a full crit build so she can proc ERS on every hit to spike up her damage. Since the Stardust boss does require some pretty mindful micro, I thought I'd show the full run for it. It also took me quite a bit of getting familiar with how the boss attacks so I'd know when to use my skills. The first hurdle is again the burn. Cleanse too late and scroll dies to burn, cleanse too early and 1 stack of burn out damages your healing. So I needed to properly time the monocle every single time. That also means I can't turn on auto unfortunately as it'll mistime my monocle. But anyway, Stardust. He has 3 main attacks that are actually important. The bombing ground attack that applies burned and is an iframe, the shield attack that makes him invulnerable for a few seconds, and the mega death explosion one. And all of these have their own unique cooldowns. 1 minute in and I've already done 14 mil damage out of the 72 mil HP that Stardust has. This seems bad, but remember, Black Lemonade's damage scales quadratically with time, which means I'm on track to deal about 56 mil damage by minute 2 and 126 mil by minute 3. Obviously I'm not gonna deal that much, but there's no way I'll be overestimating my damage by 50 mil. Nice damage sneak just before Stardust pops invuln. I often joke about lucky occurrences being calculated, but this time I have unfortunately played this tray enough for that to actually be calculated. 4 mil damage you cast now, not too bad. Not even close. Tad bit off from the 56 mil damage prediction, but still definitely in the clear for having enough damage. Damn it. As you can see, mistiming a single monocle nearly ended the run. You can imagine how much fun getting the right timings were. But hey, at least it's over now. Oh yeah, builds, I kinda forgot to record those. Common sense builds for everyone. Squirrel, best healer, and Trey, I will not hear otherwise. Following up the masterclass of Trait 28, we have a tray that competes with trays 1 to 15 in terms of difficulty. Well, if you know your way around the boss's mechanics. The only things to note about the boss is 1, you need debuff immunity or 2 sources of cleanse, and 2, the boss is a cookie. The first point is pretty intuitive, it is after all a poison damage boss. However, the second point is when things start getting interesting. I realized that point when my damage with Black Lemonade appeared to be linear, meaning that the bulk of my damage wasn't coming from ERS. It was actually coming from Black Lemonade's enhanced autos which deal max HP % damage. So I had a wonderful idea. Mercurial Knight. Every enhanced auto is guaranteed to deal 300k damage no matter my stats, and he cleaves twice on every auto. I ran him with crit thinking maybe critical strikes can bypass the 300k damage cap on max HP damage, but it can't. Intuitively, that means attack speed would be the best topping set, though too much attack speed would make him prone to the tray debuff, so cooldown might honestly be the most efficient. Whoa, an electric team stat check. Again. If you have Elder Fairy, then give him a Biscuit with 2 HP lines so he can cheese the Death Beam since it's single hit, or just have enough stats on your electric cookies. What a brave and innovative tray. Just had to make sure that boss didn't take the aforementioned max HP % damage. This was the perfect train wreck of a BL-proof stage. Extremely high damage output, injury, and insane amount of non-fire damage resist. Considering how frail Black Lemonade is and the ramping injury, I really don't think he's the answer here. So I'm forced to play into the stage's gimmick, if you can even call it that. Luckily, Fire actually has a pretty good epic trade DPS in the form of Tartaten. Plus the boss is vulnerable to burn as well, so Taten's full damage output is unlocked. Now here comes the issue. I can't live! There was nothing I could do to lift the boss's attacks for even a half-decent duration. Except maybe 5-8 Taten, but neither my BF nor BSAF have Ascension Star, so I don't think I'll be using my Soulstone's Electric Test on her. So I had to use the one and only high rarity cookie in this video, Fire Spirit. And of course he made the tray an absolute breeze. I meant he made it super easy. Okay, maybe I guess Press Lens are at 7 stacks now? Turns out the answer was Nutmeg. Don't ask. My first idea for this tray was Moss BL to take advantage of Moss's base earth damage as well as her high hit count for BL. I also brought along Financier so that BL can't get aired, meaning I don't have to risk losing my ERS stacks. And then I realized that Mozzarella misses the boss entirely, so Kero it is. Kero is the best BL carrier here since she's by far the bulkiest one, as well as having her own debuff immunity. As a general guideline, if you need to bring Financier for a sustain, then your DPS would need to be Kero as well. BL Kero still does insane damage on this tray once they've ramped up, even though Kero gets the tray debuff and the tray has massive non-earth damage reduction. Considering Rebel's defense shred works in this tray, I was actually pleasantly surprised that this tray wasn't trivial. I needed to find the perfect balance between surviving attacks and actual offense. Although Twiz has a high hit count with high crit damage, it doesn't matter if I get blasted on the first attack, so trial and error it is. Can win, trust. Wait, that Rebel damage was nuts. Maybe Twiz really is unnecessary. Lots of trial and error later, I've struck the perfect balance. Although Yeti gives no offense, the amount of extra attacks they let me survive more than makes up for it. First Death Beam and I only lost half my HP, which means I can keep beating down the boss before it ramps up for quite a bit. What happened to my health? The boss is barely ramped? Hello? You're joking. How did I die that time? Oh, come on. What a joke. Eventually, through sheer willpower and banging my head against a concrete wall, I got a winning run. Squirrel dies early here, but that's okay as long as the rest of my team can carry just a little bit longer, and that last rebel skill is voila. Pleasantly surprised. Even though this tray was the most anti-BL tray to ever exist, I decided to give it a go because why not? This tray periodically removes buffs, punishes high hit counts, abuses injury, and has massive burst damage. It cannot get any worse for BL than this. But I was stubborn and tried to see if iframes could bypass the injury effect. It could not. So I actually have to play into the tray's cards again. Gave Street Arcane a chance, but the boss being burn immune completely axes her damage output. Which means the only option left for me was Tart Taten. Oh shoot, the boss has damage reflect. I'm gonna have to memorize another boss's attack patterns, don't I? Look at me, I'm learning. Though, I should have saved Financier for after I got cursed. Seems doable. Cleaned up my gameplay a bit to min-max my damage. Somewhat memorizing when the boss gets his reflect up means that I can be more aggressive in spamming skills. I'm also figuring out that I really need to save Financier skills so Tated can lift the rocket attack, cause yeah, the shield is quite important for living. Before this, I was using a tainted attack speed biscuit, so I decided to try to roll for a regular biscuit with more fire damage. The extra fire damage should compensate for my lowered attack speed, meaning I maintained my damage output while reducing the injury gain. Time for the successful run. Just like the Stardust boss, there's only a few attacks worth noting. Mainly I need to have Finance healed up for the rocket attack, and the roar attack which applies damage reflect to the boss and curse to your team. I needed to be patient and wait out the curse so my buffs could actually apply. That enhanced cannonball damage, 6 mil, for such an old epic as well. Shields at the ready, brace for impact. We are surviving this, just 16 mil left, 6 mil left. And easy claps. Decadent is goated. So, 1 tray left. Well, the boss is vulnerable to defense down and does percent HP damage, so low HP characters are actually tanky since they're easy to heal. Bit of a joke. And that was with a fun team as well. I wanted to put in Raspberry because I crafted her MC for Trade 28 experiments. It gets a lot easier with Twizzly. That was a bit of a joke, but thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and see ya.